Happy Hump Day, everybody. It's Robert, and I'm going to be talking about the 2019 NFL Draft and my favorite team, the New York Football Giants, where I think they should go with their draft picks. And I'm going to talk about which anybody who knows me will know this already, but Eli Manning, why I support him as being the quarterback. Obviously not everybody agrees with that, and they have their own reasons. I've been accused of, and maybe guiltily so, being a delusional Eli Manning supporter, homer. So be it. That doesn't change my take. I feel the way that I do, and not everybody has to agree with that. The general opinion or take on Eli Manning is he's done. He's stunk for a couple of years and has been progressively gone down since 2011 when the Giants won their last Super Bowl. He had a really good statistically year in 2012. I think he actually had a game where he passed for over 500 yards against the Buccaneers. So he was still playing pretty well. The Giants went 9-7 that year and missed the playoffs. And the way that they missed the playoffs that year was very discouraging. Like, I think the last two of the last four games, the Giants got absolutely manhandled, destroyed. The Ravens, mopped the floor with them, and there was another team that I can't remember off the top of my head that just, absolutely lambasted them to the point that I took them out of the playoffs. So, be it as it may, as time went on, the only time the Giants went to the playoffs was in 2016, since 2011, where they had Ben McAdoo as the coach, and the offense was not very good. But I think the things that have impacted Eli Manning negatively, honestly, is Tom Coughlin leaving. And I say that not partially because of his relationship with Eli, but also since Tom Coughlin has left the Giants, the offensive line has absolutely went to dog crap. When Tom Coughlin was coach of the Giants, the offensive line was nothing like this. Even their weakest offensive line with Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning. Eli Manning may have gotten sacked 25 times total in an entire year with the Giants' worst offensive line. And in the past two seasons, 2017 and 2018, Eli Manning's gotten sacked almost 100 times. That's progressively, in last year, he got sacked over 55 times. I don't have the stat in front of me, but 55 times. And the reason why I'm a major Manning supporter at this point is simply about being a quarterback. One of the most important things that you can do, because you touch the ball every single play, you're essentially touching the ball, is protect the ball. Eli Manning, for a majority of his career, when his offensive line was much consistently better, he was an interception machine. He averaged a minimum of 20 to 30 interceptions for a majority of his career. Even at the last 5 or 6 years, he hasn't had a season where he's thrown over 20 interceptions. So he's gotten better at protecting the ball, but there's been seasons where he's been 25, 30 interceptions. Even the season where they upset the Patriots in 2017, he had more interceptions than touchdowns that year statistically. So you tell me that with that, and you look at all the quarterbacks that are absolutely horrible in the NFL, what's a telling sign besides them losing games? Them turning over the football. Interceptions. Nathan Peterman, the Buffalo Bills quarterback that had all the potential, he was an interception machine. Everybody thinks he's garbage. It's not because he's getting sacked or scoring points. It's because why? He's throwing interceptions, 5 interceptions in a game. Now, last year for the Giants, Eli Manning, as I had said, had gotten sacked 55 times and hit every single or anytime he went back to pass, essentially. They got a little bit better as the year went on, but last year he turned the ball over, like I don't have the stat in front of me, but just as an observation compared to other years, he turned the ball over with sack fumbles, and interceptions combined, less than he has ever done in his 15-year career. So for me, I see that he played every single game. The Giants went 5-11, but he had 12 interceptions last year. 12 interceptions. Granted, quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers throw between maybe an entire season, maybe 6 to 8 interceptions. Mid-tier quarterbacks, 15, 16, one interception a game. So Eli Manning, despite all that pressure and stuff, he threw 12 interceptions. The second half of the season, and again, I understand the Giants went 5-11. They weren't going to the playoffs, but he threw 13 touchdowns in the final 8 games. It's almost 2 a game. Turned over the ball less. So, granted, did he play well enough for the Giants to be competitive for the playoffs or anything? Absolutely not. I'll be the first one to admit that. But if Eli Manning had last year 25, 30 interceptions, I wouldn't have a choice to say that he was horrible. That's like a telltale sign. When you're turning the ball over, it means that you can't read defenses. You're getting confused, and pressure is getting to you. That's why turnovers happen with quarterbacks. Quarterbacks have pressure. They get pressured, and they make bad decisions. Amazing quarterbacks don't, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't get fooled by anything on defense. That's why he doesn't turn the ball over. So good quarterbacks, for me, and you can disagree with this, don't turn the ball over. That's one of the most important things. That's a major important stat. Now, Eli Manning threw 21 touchdowns last year, so that's not gonna break it home. I think he threw for 4,000 yards. 4,000 yards statistically is like kind of like with modern passing, like an evaluator for a decent quarterback year. 4,000 yards. I mean, it's kind of more common now because the way everybody passes, but that's that. So that's my take on Eli Manning. You can feel free to disagree, but I don't think thinking that he's not a bad quarterback because he doesn't turn the ball over makes me I'm not jumping to drawing straws or something like that. Turning the ball over not turning the ball over is one of the most important reasons why teams win. So. Okay, so that's it. But anyways, so the Giants, a lot of people think that the Giants need to get a quarterback at 6, impactful. They have the first round picks, 6 and 17 this year because of the Odell Beckham trade. I would, build the offensive line or get a dominant pass rusher. Based on what everything in them could be a smokescreen. Dave Gettleman, the general manager of the Giants, is saying that they're not interested in any of the quarterbacks. And, it could be to get other teams who are interested to potentially trade with them. You don't know. It could be a smokescreen. But Dave Gettleman drafted really amazing last year. You look at all the players. He drafted 6 players. The only one that there's a question mark is going to be a player or not is Kyle Lauletta, the 4th-round pick. The defensive end, defensive tackle, B.J. Hill, run stuffer, had 5 sacks as interior defensive tackle for a rookie. That's pretty good. And Saquon Barkley, what can you say about him? Wow, I was so off on him. How amazing of a player is he? And then 2nd round, Will Hernandez, brick in the offensive line, Mauler, strong, looked pretty good. Probably was their best offensive lineman last year. So a good upside with that. Lorenzo Carter, linebacker, he kind of started doing a little bit better towards the end of the year, but he could be like a combination pass rusher and player in space for coverage. Remains to be seen. The R.J. McIntosh, another defensive lineman, he was injured most of the year, but when he played, he was pretty disruptive. So, I mean, you look at the Giants draft from last year compared now after one season, 5 out of the 6 players look to be solid players. Barkley could be the best running back in the NFL next year. So, if the Giants don't go with a quarterback in the first round, everybody's getting all upset about that. I trust Dave Gettleman. The man knows how to draft, as far as I'm concerned. And he's building Hopefully, what I would like to see. I don't want to go. I don't want to go into offensive line limbo like the Giants have gone for the past 3 or 4 years, where Eli Manning, the only reason why he didn't get sacked as much in the first couple of years is he was throwing the ball 2 seconds after he hiked the ball. So, and then he was depending on Odell Beckham to break a tackle and take it 70 yards or whatever else. And then couldn't do anything else. You got to give it time. Eli Manning, in the majority of his career, has thrown deep. He's had the ability to throw deep, but recently, not whatsoever. You don't see him in the past 3 or 4 years. He hasn't been able to throw deep because he hadn't had the time to let routes develop and stuff like that. And he's not an immobile quarterback. He's in the pocket. He may move his feet here and there. He's not going to run for 15 yards when the all-out blitz comes into the way. He's not exactly the best thrower on the run. If I were to see, I would like at 6, Jonah Williams or one of the left tackles. The left tackles seem to be really good. Or maybe a right tackle, like Cody Ford from Oklahoma. He's a monster. Right tackle, it's kind of poor. So they have Kevin Zeitler, the right guard. So either a tackle or something like that. Pass rush. I think they definitely need some corners too. They get Jabril Pepper at safety, but he could play slot corner. Like him, I would also, sad that they didn't re-sign Landon Collins, but, there's a lot of good corners in this draft, so maybe in the second round, third round, they could get somebody impactful. They'll also have Sam Beal coming back, who was the third round supplemental pick from last year that was out for the season. So we got to see what he does. So, they have 12 picks altogether. So it'll be interesting to see what type of players impact the Giants in the later rounds that they draft, if that whatsoever. Imagine if they get a great player in the 6th or 7th round. They have a bunch of picks there. So, 6th round quarterback like Tom Brady. That would work. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who's rated there. Or 6th round wide receiver like Antonio Brown. That'd be good. So, I don't know. Or the other player that I would love to see the Giants have, just because I want to see the Giants have another a dominant defense that just destroys everything. Josh Allen, the linebacker from Kentucky. The guy can pass. He can do everything as a linebacker. Imagine having him on right or left with Lorenzo Carter, and then having Alec Ogletree in the middle. Alec Ogletree turned out to be better than I expected. He had 5 interceptions. He took, I think, 3 of them back for touchdowns, as a linebacker. So that's good. Hopefully that gets better. I hope that isn't the best that we're going to see from him. But all right, well, that's my take on the Giants in the draft. If I'll just put a guess as to who the first round pick is going to be. I'll say Kyler Murray. And that would be interesting too. If the Giants were to trade for Josh Rosen, I would love that, because he's played in the league already. He kind of got experience, a little bit of experience under his belt. This year, he would sit behind Eli Manning, so that would make him hungry, I think. Well, hopefully, in theory, that would make him hungry to play next year if Eli Manning retires or not. And maybe it would turn out like the way that for Kansas City, where Alex Smith played for the year, and Pat Mahomes studied under him for a year. Next year, Pat Mahomes MVP. Not that it would. I mean, that's a nice thought, though, right? All right. That's my video on the draft for the Giants. Feel free to agree, disagree, think I'm crazy, what are my takes, and whatnot. If this was too long, I'm sorry, but there was a lot of stuff, and I like talking about Eli because I believe in Eli. Later.